My name is Mateo Rivera. I grew up in a one-bedroom apartment in Tijuana with my mom, Rosa. She cleaned houses for a living. We never had enough, but we had each other. Every birthday she gave me the same gift, a small black and white photo of a man I'd never met. Young, handsome, expensive watch, standing next to a private jet. On the back she had written in fading ink, "Your father, Alexander Voss." One day you'll understand why he couldn't stay. I asked questions for 29 years. She always answered the same. He loved us. But the world he lived in would have destroyed us. When you're ready, go find him. He'll know your face the second he sees you. On my 29th birthday, March 14, 2025, Mom handed me a yellowed envelope. Inside, a DNA test from 1995, 99.9998% match. A private investigator's report from 2018, a single address in Malibu, California, Alexander Voss. Net worth, $4.1 billion. Founder of the largest private space exploration company on Earth. Never married. No public children. I took every penny I had saved from 10 years of teaching. High school math, $11,000 for $100. Bought a one-way ticket to Lax. And rented the cheapest car I could find. I drove to the gates of his estate at sunset. 40-foot walls. Security cameras everywhere. Two armed guards stepped out. I rolled down the window and said the only thing I could think of, "Tell Mr. Voss that Mateo from Tijuana is here. He'll want to see me." The guards looked at each other, confused. One made a call. 30 seconds later, the gates opened by themselves. I drove up a road that felt like it belonged to another planet. The house appeared. Glass, steel, and ocean views that made my knees weak. The front door opened before I reached it. A man walked out, 62 years old, silver hair, tailored linen shirt, and eyes that were mirror images of mine. He stopped 10 feet away. His voice cracked. "Mateo." I nodded. He dropped to his knees on the marble driveway. Not a dramatic fall. A collapse, like every bone in his body gave up at once. He started sobbing. I had never seen a grown man cry like that. I walked over and knelt in front of him. He reached out with shaking hands and touched my face like I was made of glass. "You're real," he whispered. "You're actually real." Then he said the words I had waited 29 years to hear. "I've been looking for you since the day you were born." He told me everything that night. 1994. He was 31, married to his college sweetheart, Caroline. They couldn't have children. He was already worth $400 million. The pressure to produce an heir was crushing. He came to Baja California for a weekend alone. Met my mother, Rosa, who was 22 and working at the resort. 3 days. That's all it was. When he went back to California, Caroline was diagnosed with terminal cancer. He stayed by her side for 2 years until she died. He hired private investigators to find Rosa. They told him she had vanished. He believed she'd had an abortion. He buried the guilt and built an empire to fill the hole. For 29 years he funded anonymous scholarships in Tijuana, built 3 schools, paid medical bills for hundreds of kids. Every time he asked himself, "What if my son is out there?" He never stopped looking. When the guard called and said Mateo from Tijuana, he knew before he even saw my face. That night we sat on his terrace until sunrise. He showed me a locked room in the house. Inside, hundreds of photos of me from school yearbooks, soccer games, graduation, every article I was ever mentioned, in a wall of birthday cards he wrote but never sent. A trust fund started the day I was born. For $100 million, untouched, he cried again. I always knew this room would either stay locked forever or become the happiest place on earth. I moved into the guest house the next week. 6 months later, we launched the Voss Rivera Foundation together. $1 billion pledged to educate kids who grew up like I did. We travel the world now, father and son. People think I'm his bodyguard because I still look like the kid from Tijuana. Every Christmas we fly to my mom's grave. We bring flowers and tell her the story all over again. And every year on my birthday, Alexander gives me the same gift, a new black and white photo of us together. On the back he writes, "To my son Mateo, the only thing in my life more valuable than every rocket I ever built. I still teach math 2 days a week at a public school in LA. I drive a 2012 Honda I refuse to replace. I kept my mom's tiny apartment in Tijuana exactly as it was. Because some things money can't buy. The 29 years I had with the strongest woman I ever knew. The night she cried herself to sleep so I wouldn't see the pride in her eyes. When I got my teaching degree, Alexander understands that now. He says the best day of his life wasn't when he became a billionaire. It was the day a 29-year-old math teacher with $11,400 in his bank account walked up his driveway and gave him the one thing his billions could never buy, a son. So whoever you are listening to this, if there's someone you need to find, someone you need to forgive, someone you need to say I love you to before it's too late, do it. Because sometimes the richest man in the world is the one who spent 29 years waiting for a knock on the door that finally came. Comment family finds you if this story moved you. And call someone you haven't spoken to in years. Today, I love you, Dad. See you in the next one.